Hello everyone, this is Dr. Carolyn Maria, working as an assistant professor in Loyola College of Education, Chennai. The title of the course is Knowledge and Curriculum, which is course 8, in which we are going to deal with Unit 1, Epistemological Basis of Education. This is part 2 video lecture, which is going to deal with the meaning of skill, teaching, training, information, reason and belief, difference between knowledge and skill, teaching and training, reason and belief. The objectives are the learner will be able to acquire knowledge about skill, teaching, training, information, reason and belief, differentiate between knowledge and skill, teaching and training, reason and belief. Let us learn all these terminologies now. What is skill? Skill is learning some new ability by practice, but the proficiency is developed only through training or experience. For example, dance, typewriting, cooking, etc. Teaching is imparting instruction to the learner to enable the learner to become a better person with desirable changes. For example, alphabets, numbers, or any subject. Training is developing particular skill to enable the learner to become mastery over the skill. For example, tailoring, beautician, etc. Information is a piece of news or facts provided or learned about someone or something. For example, weather report. Reason is the logical justification about an act. For example, pollution. Belief is having faith or accepting someone or something as true with proof or without even proof. For example, earth is flat. It is our belief. Let's focus on information and characteristics of information. As we have seen already, information is the fragments of knowledge or facts which are provided or learnt about something or someone. There are many sources of information. With regard to media, print media, non-print media, digital, people, observation, even through self-introspection, we just gain all the information. Information is a news or knowledge which can be even received or even given. A good information should be very relevant, accurate, reliable, and it should be given to the right person at the right time. And it is a foundation of knowledge and it is even derived from data. Let us focus on the characteristics of information. The information should be very easy to access. If you want to learn a new word or if you want to find out the meaning of a word, you can very well easily access to the dictionary or Google. And the information which is given, it should be accurate. For example, when revealing the election results, it has to be very accurate. And the information should have its own trustworthiness, that is called as reliability. For example, the books which have ISBN, that is International Standard Book Number, are considered to be quality books. Information which is provided should have appropriateness and completeness with all details. When you take any government order or any court order, it will have all information. And the information should be short enough, for example, headlines in the news. And we should be concentrating on having the information with pleasing words. And with regard to time also, it should be given on the proper time. Information which is given delayed, that will have no value. Example, any wedding invitation or any meeting invitation, etc. Let's now differentiate the knowledge and skill. In my previous video lecture, you have already learned what is knowledge, the meaning, characteristics, types, sources of knowledge. Now let us focus on the difference between how are we going to differentiate knowledge from skill. For which, let me give you an example. For example, when you have it in your mind that you are going to learn about the micro-teaching cycle, that is plan, teach, feedback, replan, reteach, refeedback. So the complete information about the micro-teaching cycle, that you can have it as an example for knowledge. But when you are focusing on developing your own blackboard writing, that is what is called as skill. So having these examples in your mind, when you relate all the points what we are going to discuss, it will be very easy for you to understand. Knowledge is collection of useful information, but skill is applying those useful information in a productive way as well as the ability to apply the knowledge in a specific situation. The aim of knowledge is gathering and storing information. The aim of skill is to master a particular skill to achieve the goal. Knowledge improves awareness in the person. Skill brings out permanent change in the person. The sensory input and output enhances the knowledge, but practice makes the skill a man perfect. Knowledge can be transferred from one person to another person. Skill cannot be transferred as such, but skill can be practiced or observed or demonstrated by each individual in a different way. As I told you already, blackboard writing, each one's handwriting is completely different, and your own handwriting will be different from one time to the other time with regard to blackboard writing. So knowledge is associated with our cognitive domain to some extent to affective domain because it is storing all the information. But skill is associated with psychomotor domain because it is performance related. Knowledge is essential in order to improve the skill, but without the skill, whatever knowledge you gain, that becomes useless. Knowledge is developed by collection of useful information. Skill is developed by combining the knowledge and ability. Knowledge is used for sharing information. Skill is used for solving the problems. Knowledge could be easily measured by giving an examination, but skill it's little tough to measure because every time we keep changing. Knowledge is enhanced by the storage and the memory. Skill is enhanced by training and practice. Knowledge is gained, skill is acquired or learned. There is no age limit for knowledge. Even you could see 70-year-old, people also nowadays using Android with many applications. But with regard to the skill, as the age grows, the interest will fade away. Knowledge is acquired through self-observation. Skill is acquired through self-practice. Knowledge mostly comes from external sources, but skill is developed through internal sources. Knowledge is the one which will give us the wisdom, but skill gives perfection. Knowledge is general, skill is specific. The sources of knowledge are perception, reasoning, introspection, memory, testimony. The sources of skill are stimulus response and trial and error. We can eliminate all the wrong trials and cling on to the right trial. There are various types of knowledge which are already explained in Unit 1, Part 1 video lecture. A priori, posteriori, paravidya, aparavidya, intuitive, demonstrative, digital, revealed, sensitive, authoritative, pragmatic knowledge. With regard to the skills, communication skills, life skills like time management, stress management, soft skills, social skills, personal skills, intrapersonal skills, professional skills. At last, knowledge can make a person a scholarly person, but skill can make a person a unique person. As I told you, each one's handwriting even differs. That is the first thing which differentiates you from the other person. Everybody has learnt alphabets, but each one's handwriting is different. That actually proves that you are a unique person. Let us now learn the difference between teaching and training. For this also let us have an example. Teaching, you can take any of your classroom teaching, micro teaching like that. Training, for example, if you are paying money and going and registering yourself for 3 months certificate course on Photoshop you take. Okay, so have this in your mind and learn all these points. Teaching is transfer of knowledge from teacher to student. Training is training a particular skill, that is Photoshop. Teaching makes use of all the students to understand the concept. Training making use of all the learner to get trained in the particular skill. Teaching demands content mastery. Training demands skill mastery. Teaching involves the valid assessment, but training only the performance can be measured. How well you create a very good album. So that is your performance with regard to the Photoshop training what you undergo. Teaching facilitates students' learning. Training facilitates learner skill. Teaching can be done to human beings. Training is possible to human beings as well as even animals. You would have seen the dogs trained in police department, the animals trained for circus, etc. Teaching enhances the inquisitiveness and curiosity in students. Training enhances the perfection of learners. Teaching strategies are based on the students' needs. Training techniques are also based on the learner's capacities as well as the needs. Teaching is a systematic planned program to improve knowledge. Of course, training is also very systematic, but it is a procedure. It is not only the program, it is a procedure to improve the performance of a person. There are three main steps in teaching like planning, teaching and feedback. But with regard to the training, first of all, we need to go and assess who are the people who are in need of training. Then after that, we'll have to go for formulating the purpose of training, the aims or objectives of training, what are the teaching, what are the techniques you are going to use for training, and what are the learning outcomes you are expecting from the learner after the training. Then after we need to go for creation of the relevant content and active demonstration and gives them hands-on training which are called as the practice, and regular feedback should be given during the training, and after the training also we need to go for collecting the follow-up also. We should go for the follow-up, that is post-training, how well the learning is sustained in a person. Let's focus on the types of teaching. Individual teaching is one-to-one teaching. Group teaching is one teacher to many students. Team teaching is many teachers to many students. Tutorial could be one-to-one or one-to-many. Nowadays, online teaching, e-tutoring are very famous. But in general, teaching can be massively classified into micro teaching and macro teaching. With regard to training, in-service training, that is on-job training, or pre-service training, before joining the job when a person is trained, that is called as pre-service training. It is even otherwise called as apprenticeship. Then teaching is internal motivation, training is external motivation. There are various sources for teaching, but the resource persons who already possess the skill only can give the training. And there is no time limit for teaching because nowadays online teaching is possible, but training is programmed as well as even scheduled, depends upon the availability of the trainer. Let's now learn the difference between reason and belief. We have already learned what is reasoning in my previous video lecture. This is just a recap. Reasoning is the capacity of a person to make sense of things and establish and verify the facts, and it is a process of forming conclusion or judgments, and it is an ability to think logically to come for a conclusion. There are two major types of reasoning as deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is general to specific. General phenomena you take and apply that to a specific individual or a situation. For example, birds fly, so crow flies. Inductive reasoning is from specific to general. Whatever is possible for a specific individual or specific situation, that you just go for a generalization. For example, crow flies, hence crow is a bird since all birds fly. Belief is the acceptance that something exists or something is true, especially one with or without proof. It is a sort of trust or faith or confidence in someone or something. It is a sort of mental representation of an attitude positively oriented towards something or someone. In epistemology, the philosophers use the term belief to refer the personal attitudes associated with true or false ideas or the concepts. There are various types of belief. For example, we all do have a belief that there is God, the existence of goddess, life, birth, rebirth, all these are beliefs. We do have a sort of association. Whenever we come across with the daughter resembles mother and son resembles father, we do say that we associate and that is our belief. And we equate. See, for an example, any actor or actress or any famous personality, we equate them with us. So that is called as equivalence. And sometimes we just go for a sort of whatever is happening, that is enacting. So, for an example, nowadays we come across in social media so many information that 2020 we are suffering with coronavirus. So, every 20 years we may suffer with something or other. So, this is a sort of enacting belief we have. And belief is even otherwise a sort of causation. That is, whatever you sow, you reap. So, that is actually, we do have a sort of belief. So, we are expected to do only the good deeds. Key takeaway messages from this lecture are: develop many skills to improve your potentiality, use innovative strategies to train students in teaching, avoid superstitious beliefs, enhance reasoning ability, be clear in your communication with all complete information. Let me give you some 3 points to reflect on. Self-introspect yourself to find out the reason for your behavior in an adverse situation. Any bitter situation, why you behaved in that way. You need to just self-introspect and try to come out with a conclusion or solution. In the same situation when you come across, you need to go for a better performance or better behavior. Identify the innovative strategies to improve your teaching. What are your plans for learning new skills in the next academic year? I have given you some books for yourself to go through for your further reading. Thank you for listening. Wish you good luck, students.